It is normal to come across videos of the most interesting or exciting places in the UK. You don't even have to search deeply for them, cause they are everywhere. And what do people love more than fun and even more fun? But what do you do when you come across a video on the most depressive places in the UK? Every year, people over at iLivehere ranks the 20 worst places to live in the UK. This year, however, they did something different. They ranked the most depressing towns to live in the UK. The rankings voted by you. The public means residents of these places can have bragging rights, the right to complain about being sad more than everyone else. After all, British people love to complain. In today's video, we go over the most depressive places in the UK. Residing in any of these places means you are at risk of having your energy or will to live sapped or developing a terminal case of ennui. Just kidding. Let's see what we have here. Number 5. Tiverton, Devon. At first glance, Tiverton doesn't look deserving of a spot on this list. The small town has a lot of history, old buildings such as the Tiverton Castle and St. Peter's Church, and pretty views. There are local shops, markets, and quite a few community events. With the Grand Western Canal running along the outskirts of the town and an impressive 24 bridges running over the 11-mile stretch of the canal, you might think of the town as a peaceful and interesting place, but appearances can be deceiving. Under the picturesque town, there is a deep and overwhelming sense of boredom and sadness felt by many locals. The town experiences problems with jobs and money. Finding work can be difficult because there aren't many jobs for people to do. When compared to some other places in the UK, you also realize Tiverton doesn't have as many shops and activities as these other places. No fun places, nothing to do to chase boredom away and feel alive. All these contribute to making Tiverton less enjoyable for some people to live in. Number 4. Falmouth, Scotland. For a town that used to be an ordinary little town, getting a spot on this list might actually have done Falmouth a lot of good. Falmouth, Scotland, is Scotland's first entry on this list, and it has received a lot of attention since this list was released. Garnering interest from people might actually be what the town needs to ensure it doesn't feature on this list again. Its presence here as one of the most depressing places in the UK in 2024 is mainly due to economic challenges and several social factors. The town has a high unemployment rate, causing limited job opportunities for people. This, in turn, impacts residents' financial stability and well-being. Falmouth has also faced a decline in local services and amenities, which contributes to making the town feel dull and more isolated. You can't help but wonder how residents of this city manage to get some excitement and fun into their lives. It hasn't always been like this, though. Falmouth was once a hub of wool, weaving, glassmaking, and malt distilling, making it an industrial powerhouse in the 18th and 19th centuries. Fast forward to the 21st century, and there are plenty of things to see and do in the town. The famous Falmouth Tower, the Smundos Parish Church, and the Tullibody Heritage Center are just a couple of the attractions tourists can get their teeth into. Number 3. Aberdeen, Scotland. Years back, Aberdeen would surely not have made it to this list. Heck, it is Scotland's oil capital. The city has been a major center for the oil and gas industry since the discovery of North Sea oil in the 1970s. It is home to many energy companies and has long been a hub for offshore drilling operations, oil field services, and related industries. However, in recent years, there has been a shift towards renewable energy, and Aberdeen has become increasingly involved in renewable energy projects like offshore wind and hydrogen production. The resultant effect is that the North Sea industry, which used to be the hub of activities, attracting a lot of money to the city and providing jobs, has shrunk. Now, all you have left are lots of grey houses and very little excitement. The remote location of the city, and its grumpy weather too, doesn't help matters. It is usually cloudy and cold down there, and with the several rundown areas you can find there, there's always this feeling of isolation and decline in Aberdeen. Number 2. Peterborough, Cambridgeshire. The appearance of Peterborough on this list isn't surprising at all. It is a bit of common knowledge that it is a drab place. In fact, the city has been attributed the following synonyms: despair, cheerlessness, woefulness, ennui, and melancholy, which only goes a long way to make it a perfect occupant of a position in this list. The city struggles with high crime rates, economic difficulties, and urban decay, which have led to very poor public perception and social deprivation. Low wages, a lack of job opportunities, and neglected public spaces contribute to a declining quality of life. To worsen matters, these factors all contribute to reinforcing the negative views folks have about the city, causing further harm as it only gets more difficult to attract investments that could improve the condition of things. When you consider all these factors, you will get a better understanding of why the city makes it to this list. Number 1. Falmouth, Cornwall. Emerging top of the pile on our list is the town of Falmouth. The historic port on Cornwall's south coast was a surprise entry to this year's list of the country's 20 gloomiest towns and cities. It was even more surprising that it emerged top of the list, beating perennial butt-of-the-joke places such as Peterborough, Luton, 11th, and Swindon, 13th. Do residents of Falmouth agree with the rankings? Well, many of them are still baffled and strongly disagree with the results. Travel expert Tom Mulvihill visited this week to get to the bottom of the mystery. Falmouth admittedly wasn't looking its best on a gray February morning, but even in the winter drizzle, there were rows of pretty pastel-hued Victorian terraces tumbled down a steep hill towards the moor, the town's lively main square, which was lined with bustling cafes, restaurants, pubs, and shops. One shopkeeper, Julianne, laughed at the idea of Falmouth being considered in any way depressing. "Everybody's talking about it, as you can imagine," she said. "It's ridiculous. I've only lived here 5 years, and compared to where I lived before, it's wonderful," according to The Telegraph, where he published his findings. Time Out contributor and Cornish native India Lawrence also strongly opposed the list, saying, "Falmouth isn't depressing. It's got a beautiful harbor, the beach, a bunch of lovely pubs, and a great music scene. It is also home to loads of students and young people who bring plenty of life and young energy to the area. What's not to like?" Some residents, on the other hand, agree with the results. One of them had this to say: Falmouth is going downhill, that's for certain. Walking down the high street, there are a lot of shops that are empty or look very run down, with their signs falling off. There are a lot of students here, and they've had a very positive impact. But if you're a student, you don't have very much money to spend. Well, what do you think? If you've ever been to Falmouth or any of the other entries on this list, do you have any objections? Is there a city you feel should have made it to this list? Do let us know in the comments section, and while you are at it, like Andy SHARER videos. Subscribe to our channel too, so you can be updated on more interesting videos like this one. I'll see you next time.